Hi, I'm Catherine Bruton and I'm the author of Bird Boy. This is the story of Will, who's sent to the mountains to live with an uncle he barely knows. When he stumbles across an injured osprey chick, Will and the bird form an unbreakable bond. This is the story about conservation, migration, mental health, and healing through nature. I'm going to read you a little bit from early on in the book. The next day at nature camp, Will and Omar were put on amphibian watch, which meant helping newts and toads to cross the road to get to their breeding grounds. Carrie-Anne had explained how the natterjack toad was an endangered species, threatened nearly to extinction by the building of roads across ancient breeding grounds. So Omar was busy building a chariot to transport the newts using sticks and a Coke bottle dropped by a careless walker, while Will was watching through the ancient binoculars, staring out across the lake for any sign of the winged creature he'd seen the day before. "You didn't tell them, did you?" said Omar, looking up from what he was doing. "About the osprey nest?" Will shook his head. "No. Did you?" "No way," said Omar. Will sighed. "My mum once said that when we die, we all come back as birds," he said. "That'd be pretty cool," said Omar. "Though I wouldn't want to be a chicken. Or an ostrich for that matter. Did you know that ostriches can't even fly, although they can run faster than cheetahs?" He looked up from his chariot building and surveyed Will, his big eyes sparkling in his round face. "Why are you so into birds, anyway?" he asked. Will shrugged. "I don't know. Why are you so interested in the newts?" "Well, I reckon Carrie-Anne would say that was a metaphor," said Omar, popping a passing snail onto the newt carriage and wheeling it around in the dust to see if the contraption worked. "A metaphor?" Omar sighed. "Look, the newts are migrating," he declared, wheeling the little newt chariot around a pile of rocks. "They face a perilous journey, fraught with dangers, in order to find a safe haven." Will still looked confused. "So that's like me, right?" said Omar. "I'm a newt." "Right. 'Cause of the war?" Omar looked at Will impatiently. "'Cause I had to leave my home and flee for safety as a refugee and make an epic journey, so I am like a newt, right?" "Right," said Will again. The truth was he didn't really know anything about the war, and he hadn't asked the younger boy anything about why he'd left his home. But suddenly an image flashed into his mind of Omar as a newt on board one of the Coke bottle chariots, fleeing from bombs and fighting. "So if I am a newt," said Omar, pulling a newt face, "maybe you are a bird." Why?" "Well, you had to leave your nest, right?" said Omar. "And now you're learning to survive on your own and getting ready to spread your wings and migrate to the other side of the world." The reminder made Will's stomach lurch painfully. Maybe Omar was right. They were all on journeys. His was different to Omar's, but it was also the same in some ways. "You're still thinking about that baby osprey, aren't you?" said Omar. He'd abandoned his construction project and now sat upright, staring at Will. "How can you tell?" "Well, you stopped doing that tapping thing that you always do with your fingers," said Omar simply. Will looked down at his hand and realised he was right. "You want to go up there again today, don't you?" said Omar, with a knowing grin, "to see the nest, or the eyrie, or whatever it was you called it again." Will nodded. He'd been thinking about the nest and the baby birds all morning. "I knew it, Bird Boy," said Omar, his moon face one big smile. "Well, then you're going to need some company, or you'll get lost, and then we'll have to call Mountain Rescue, and then Carrie-Anne will ground us forever, and then who will look after the natterjack toads?" If you want to find out what happens next, you have to read the rest of Bird Boy. I hope you enjoy it as much as I loved writing it.